It does really feel like there's this huge blind spot. I understand that commercial interests mean that certain organizations will pay huge prices in order to criticize China. But it surprises me in a world that's so decentralized, where you have individual creators that can put things out on YouTube, or even blockchain hosted video hosting websites. Now you have people with huge platforms that are talking about everything, anything and everything. There is a topic and a Reddit thread and a Discord server and there's a Twitter account for it. It seems so bizarre to me that there's this huge human rights violation going on that nobody's paying any attention to, and yet animal rights, global warming are these huge movements. Have you got any idea why culturally it's not being picked up more by people?
Because whatever this twist the people's minds they got, right? Whatever thing, I mean, the thing is, people, America especially, obsessed with slavery. I mean, it happened, 18th century. It happened a long time ago. And there are literally people right now being enslaved in this 21st century. So the thing is, if the slavery that matters, that happened like a few centuries ago, why the slavery that's happening right now does not matter to you? And that's the biggest hypocrisy is that. If the some slavery matters, why this kind of slavery that doesn't bother you at all, right? This is why it's all about politics. It became almost like identity politics. It's all about their narrative, all about winning their own power. So I think we are seeing that. I mean, we know that Hitler became voted to come into power. He didn't start a coup. People voted for him to become on the power. And Venezuela too, right? Even Cuba as well. It wasn't so. Even North Korea, Kim Il Sung too. People voted for him. We wanted him, and there is no guarantee it's not going to happen in the West. It is possible. I mean, it happened with Nazi Germany. So that I think when people lose that what is right, they lose a sense of. I think right now it's everything. I mean, the biggest problems these kids that have, I saw at Columbia, is their pronouns. If somebody do not call their right pronoun, what is cis, whatever this weird word, X, Y, Z, whatever this thing is, this is the biggest oppression they ever feel in their lifetime. And we are raising a generation or brainwashing a generation think that is the biggest problem in the world. And they're keeping them in the bubble. They do not understand how rare it is for the individuals to be free. And even know what individualism is. In North Korea, there's no word for I. We don't even know the word I. So when I went to South Korea, they were asking me, introduce yourself. And this is all North Koreans do. We from North Korea, we from Haesan, we love this food. And they're like, what do you mean we? You, I. And in North Korea, that's how they even get rid of this concept freedom, human rights, and I. And the fact that we know what I is, that's a privilege. And of course, these people, for them, is the biggest oppression is that, the pronouns. So, yeah, I don't know. Are you hopeful?
Not really, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean,
no.
It seems like China is such an obvious target for everybody to be concerned about. The militarization of the South China Sea. I watched some documentary about this the other day. That's terrifying. They are taking over territory in northern Pakistan. They've got this Belt and Road Initiative. They are exporting more and more technology around the world. They've got disinformation campaigns. And then you see how easy it is to socially or culturally hijack countries like the UK or the US with particular movements. And even now, the skepticism around, is this actually people from the UK or the US talking about this problem online? Or is this just state actors from Russia or from China that are talking about this? When you combine all of this, and then what I really would love to educate myself more on is the long-term plans of China. I know obviously there's no booklet somewhere where they've just said, oh, this is what we fancy doing. But obviously the rumors and the obvious implication is that they would want to expand the CCP across the entire world. And like, that's an existential threat. That's a threat to the entire globe.
Yeah.
And because companies want to make money, and because governments don't want to lose out on import and export duty, or don't want to make waves, nobody's talking about it. Like, if you leave a problem longer and longer, it just gets harder and harder to fix. And I mean, what more obvious of a potential issue could you have than a global pandemic released from perhaps a Wuhan lab? Like, it's just there's an endless laundry list of things that have happened that should have caused some repercussions for China.
There's zero repercussion, right? I mean, they are blaming people saying it's coming from China, and they call us racist. That's what they're spending their energy on, right? It's like, I mean, it's coming from China. We know that. And China, even if it's not coming from the lab, let's remove that. It was happening in China. They had reported to the World Organization, be transparent about it. Right, we could have ended there if we knew all what it was. They had all the genetic code of COVID, and that was their duty to report to the World Health Organization, warning everybody what was happening. They didn't do that. They would keep saying, no, it's nothing.
No transmission, nothing.
So even that was enough for them to be held accountable for what they have done to entire humanity. They cared more than 2 million people around the globe. Imagine Americans did that. Can you imagine? Like, if the UK did that, the world is gonna attack us all. If the Chinese does it, of course, like everybody is defending them right now. Even the people in America is defending them. And
I'm not sure if anyone's defending them. I think that people are willfully being ignorant to them. I think that people aren't pointing the finger in the way that they should. But yeah, I wonder whether the deconstruction of patriotism and of pride in countries like the UK and the USA, it wouldn't. So, I mean, if it's not Russia or China's plan, they must be sitting back and thinking they're just doing our work for us. Because the one thing that would work against an aggressive nation state like Russia or China would be a proud country that said, we want to protect our national sovereignty, we're concerned about what's happening over there, and you create an in-group and out-group dynamic, right? You have the out-group that's China, we need to protect ourselves, perhaps we're stewards of the earth. You know, USA used to be the people, Team USA, I know it's a satirical movie, but that whole movie was all about them being guardians of the globe. And because national pride's been disintegrated a lot, especially over the last 2 years, no one really wants to stand up for that anymore. It's very uncool. You've got this fragmented idea about what it means to be an American or a patriot. People are embarrassed about their country's history. You think this is the perfect breeding ground for an aggressive party to come and take over, because no one's going to fight back.
But that's the thing. I think it's not just that it happened this way at this point. I think it's some kind of behind the scene thing have infiltrated this way. I don't think American people chose to be this way and be so ungrateful and so ignorant of the past and the history, right? Like, I mean, slavery began with the dawn of humanity. It's still happening, and still holding the slavery piston against the entire American nation and saying, this country, only solution to this country is tear down everything and rebuild something, right? That's the thing. So these people in the US now voluntarily want to bring down the country, bring down the system, and get rid of the US Constitution, right? So, but I don't know, that's just began on their own, or somebody who were influenced it.
It feels like they've been hijacked somehow, doesn't it?
Yeah, it just feels like it's not a conspiracy theory at this point. How the country making that much progress, right? Like, from there to here, we have made so much progress as a humanity coming here, but suddenly going against exact that system, allowing this progress to happen, and do not want to kind of going back and what is this? Everything's reversing. The regression is happening right now, voluntarily. And I don't know what happened, how it is possible.
Well, isn't it crazy that you have North Korea, a country with very low living standards, where the population is forced to love the country, and America, a country with very high living standards, where the population is now hating the country?
Yeah.
It's so backward.
This is the only country I saw that people hate the country but want to be here.
Yeah, they won't leave. I won't leave.
Exactly.
But, yeah.
How many people trying to come to this country? If this is really that bigotry and systemically racist country, the worst country you think is, why everybody trying to come and why would you not even leave? Go away. Just go to North Korea. If you want that much, just go to China. Right? Nobody trying to immigrate to North Korea and China. And that's the thing that proves this is a still good, great country. And now saying that becomes very controversial, right?
Thank you very much for tuning in. If you enjoyed that, then press here for the full, unedited episode. And don't forget to subscribe. It makes me very happy indeed. Peace.